All right, we're live, boys. Welcome, America, to the best hour of your day, assuming your day is very mediocre. It's the Eric and Rodney Show with Robin and special guest Matt Magnuson. Hey, welcome.
Welcome, Matt. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Oh, listen, anytime. So we're going to get to the Matt portion of the program, but first, because America demands our opinions on such things, we have to discuss the news. It's very important to the nation. And Robin is piloting today. He's
Robin, what airline are you working for?
We have, believe it or not, we do have a PAL, which is the Philippine Airlines. But it's really shitty. Don't fly PAL. If you ever come to the Philippines, don't.
It's just one plane. You got to get out and start.
Yeah, it's like the recycled ones. So
it's where the pilot comes out and does the he does the instructions, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to go fly."
Yeah, he cleans the bathroom and shit. It's a third world country, right? I mean, you keep reminding us of that. Okay.
I want a second world country.
I don't know. They seem to skip the second world. Do you have a list of second world countries? We'll do that tomorrow. All right. What's in the news?
Yeah, the first story, unfortunately, is quite tragic, but it does have something that we can all learn from. And I also know Matt's very well known in the fitness world and involved in it, so I do want to get his opinion. So there's this popular social media influencer, and her name is Zhanna Samsonova, and she reportedly died from starvation because she has this crazy vegan diet that is exclusively raw vegan food. So it consists of fruits, seeds, and juices. That's it. So a few months before her death, friends reportedly saw her with a swollen leg, and there was even like oozing lymph. That's not really a good sight. And then a friend also said that she survived completely on jackfruit and durian for 7 years.
Yep, there she is.
That's
there
the lady.
She is. So our
she died.
Here, yeah, she starved herself to death. She believed in the healing power of crystals, but not in the healing power of Whopper Juniors with cheese.
Hold on a second. She starved to death eating jackfruit.
Jackfruit and durian for 7 years.
Right. Now, I mean, I don't hate on veganism, but there's like a proper way to do it. You need to have variety because you can be healthy while being vegan, but like if you're just eating jackfruit and durian, you're not getting the right macro and micronutrients.
Right. Like so you're saying you should be a vegan, but have an occasional McChicken.
I like jackfruit. I like jackfruit. I mean, can you really die from just eating jackfruit? I didn't know that.
Well, only eating jackfruit.
Well, and what was lacking from the article was really understanding what her caloric intake was per day. I mean, I think that there's one way of looking at it that she may, because there was the starvation and the change in her body. So you have to wonder, was she even consuming enough? What was her hydration like? I think that those things can be factors with it as well. But I think that, if you're going to go vegan, you need a little bit more variety. You need those nutrients that are in vegetables beyond just what's in fruit.
Right. These like weirdo hippie chicks, they're a strange subculture because they're generally hot, but I don't think they shower. You know what I mean? Like they're an odd group of people.
They're an odd lot.
Does anybody know what is low albumin?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, Dave knows what he's talking about.
I'm sure. Listen, we were talking
Whatever
about how
he says. Dave, we were talking about you before the show. How in shape you are.
Yeah, I saw him almost naked on the internet, so I trust his judgment here.
Right. Well, I mean, bodybuilding is also a very dangerous, unhealthy sport, but you do have to know more about it because you're in that industry as well. So.
Well, I think the extremes are interesting. Like, here's the thing with veganism. I think the standard American diet is trash. We all know that, although this chick was Russian. But it doesn't mean you have to go like batshit crazy on the lunatic fringe of the other side as well. It's like the big pharma thing. Like, big pharma is evil, but that doesn't mean you should buy into big placebo. Like, unfortunately, the middle probably makes the most sense, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A little jackfruit, great. Jackfruit all the fucking time. Well, then you die, and it's national news.
Then you become a fertilizer for the jackfruit.
Oh, ironic.
Ironically enough,
it goes full circle. Can we talk about durian for a second though, because that's the world's stinkiest fruit, right?
Yeah, it's very popular in the Philippines. I think most of the durian comes from Indonesia and the Philippines, actually.
So you've had it?
I have not, but everyone here loves it. But I know it's banned on airplanes because it's just too stinky.
It stinks so bad you can't bring it on an airplane. Yeah. So you really do identify as white because you're fucking Asian in Asia and it's popular. You just no, white guys don't eat that. So you won't. I like that. your commitment.
That's true. Wait, I'm curious, Matt. What is your diet like? You're not vegetarian or vegan, are you?
Well, actually, I dabbled with a vegan diet for 2 years. I've also gone full paleo for a while. Did various iterations of keto diets, as well as Weight Watchers. And what I will tell you is, if you take any of those diets that are out there, there's a couple of things. First off, they're caloric deficit diets, right? So, in order to lose weight, no matter what the gimmick is, you're taking in fewer calories than you're burning throughout the day. So then when you break down the food, if you take all of the best aspects of paleo, keto, or a vegan diet, you're eating real food. You're not eating processed foods. You're not eating sugars. You're not eating gluten. All of those different things that make up the standard American diet. And my opinion is, the vegan diet is fine. But like I said earlier, I think it needs to be balanced. But I think that there's a lot of political noise demonizing meat around it, and so it's. I think meat is perfectly good for you. I think going on a full keto is good. But if you're doing any of those diets right, you're not buying convenience food. You're not buying food that you throw in the oven or the microwave or getting it through a drive-through window. You're starting with just a few simple ingredients. So when I look at my diet, I tell people that I perimeter shop at the grocery store. I stay off of the aisles. On the perimeters, you got your fruits, your vegetables, and you've got your meats. I go down the aisles for coffee, for condiments. I do buy some frozen fruit for smoothies, but outside of that, I really don't stay on the aisles of the supermarket, because I think that's where all the garbage is at. And if you were doing a true vegan diet, you're shopping from those same sections that I just mentioned. If you're doing a clean keto, there's a difference between clean keto and dirty keto. But if you're doing keto the proper way, you are also shopping from outside of the perimeter.
Man, you guys, between you and David, you guys know a lot of shit. So
you'll find me and Eric in the middle of the aisles.
We're on the spaghetti. Have you heard of the SpaghettiO diet?
I have not.
I've heard it. Well, SpaghettiOs with meatballs are a complete protein source. I've heard. We can't get enough of them.
You have to eat 8 cans a day,
which is fine. It only costs $7.
8 servings.
So, Matt, I know we're going to interview you later, but you used to be 100 pounds heavier, right?
Correct.
What was your 100 pounds heavier diet? What did that look like?
Like ours.
Yeah, probably like yours. I would say that it consisted of a lot of convenience meals for starters. There was a lot of processed foods, and I would do yo-yo dieting. So my yo-yo dieting was doing keto, but I was doing more of a dirty keto type of thing. Just figuring out whatever gimmick I could do to keep under 20 carbs per day, even though it wasn't the most healthy thing. But when I wasn't doing that, lots of drive-throughs, fast food, and entirely too much beer.
What kind of beer?
At that time, because I was drinking for quantity, Miller Lite was probably often. But if I have a beer now, I don't drink very much at all. So I want.
Yeah, I don't either.
So go for a good lager.
That's okay. That's good. So what do you weigh now?
I'm about 150.
So you were 250. Holy shit.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
5'8".
Oh, you're a big boy.
Yeah.
That's some Kansas shit right there.
Yeah. I was fatty Matty back then.
All right. We're going to talk more about this later, but all right. So I think we've covered. Do anything else on the vegan diet we want to shit on? Here's the thing too about veganism. I said this yesterday. I was a pescatarian for 5 years because fuck fish. They have no souls. But factory farming is so evil, right? Like it's objectively an awful industry. I think meat is demonized partly because we treat these animals like absolute shit. And then, we were feeding cows, and then we get in crazy ass diseases. Like we have to do better there.
We absolutely have to do better there. And I recommend, buying, I buy most of my meat directly from a butcher, whether that be the local butcher or, I have a few subscription services as well that are out there. And, you're getting grass fed, not factory farmed meat.
Yeah. In the Philippines, what's up?
It tastes so much better. I mean,
I know, right? When they don't treat the animals like shit and feed them real food, somehow it tastes better. It's wild. Robin was saying in the Philippines, like there's a section of the grocery store that just says meat, and that's all it is. It's just he doesn't know what cut it is, what animal it's from. It just says meat.
Right. It's just kind of unfair, like how all the good quality meat stays in the West, and then we just get like the discarded stuff.
I think the good meat might be at the dictator's house.
Yeah, the good meat. Yeah, the dictator's eating just fine. It's the rest of you. Yeah. All right. What else?
Between paleo, keto, and the vegan diet, Matt, in your experience, was there one that was like the most sustainable one?
I think the best way to describe what I do today would be keto diet plus fruits and then more vegetables. And it's just the concept of just eating real food. If you went to the grocery store, pre-World War II, what would you buy? Well, that's exactly what I'm eating right now. It's something that comes directly from an animal, directly from a plant or a tree or from the ground. And I really think that as long as you're doing that, if you're full vegan or full paleo or keto, I think all of them are healthy as long as you're eating the healthy food within that diet.
World War II was crazy because right after you get Twinkies, microwavable frozen meals, like that really, I don't know what happened. There was like a 10-year period where they invented everything that was going to kill us.
Right.
Spam was the main one as well.
Yep, exactly. Shelf-stable pork products. Like that's
Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets.
I used to have plenty of Hot Pockets back when I had that diet that I
used to love Hot Pockets. Yeah, I don't know if they still make them.
Oh, they still make
I'm still on that phase.
Hot
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, the ham and cheese Hot Pocket is surprisingly good.
The pizza one too.
I'm not sure it's keto. What was that?
The pizza one too.
Oh, the pizza one's great. Pizza at flavored anything. Pizza combos, pizza Pringles.
Pizza combos, those are good. Yeah.
This podcast has a passion. This podcast has a passion to get Matt to his healthy eating habits at this point. We're talking about alcohol.
It might get me to mine.
A couple beers and a Hot Pocket. You're talking. Good.
I was gonna say one of the worst things in life is waiting for the Hot Pocket to cool down enough just to bite into it. You pull it out of the microwave, and it seems like it takes 10 minutes before it cools down enough before you burn the roof of your mouth, and you're smelling that delicious Hot Pocket. And you just want to tear it out.
That's the problem with pizza rolls too. It's the same issue. They have napalm in the middle.
Here's a question for you though. When you guys used to eat Hot Pockets, did you put them in the little tent that it came in?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, like the little house or whatever.
You gotta
sometimes I was a renegade. I was like, you know what, fuck it. Just
wow, you had a soggy Hot Pocket.
Get in there,
man. You're a rebel. I like that about you. You don't follow society's rules. They don't give a shit.
I was like, get in there.
Speaking of things that fuck up your mouth, Captain Crunch always destroyed the roof of your mouth.
Oh my god.
We have a lot of food that is just not mouth friendly, but I think most fruits and meat are fine. I think there's something to that. It's the crisping sleeve.
The crisping sleeve.
I know.
The crisping sleeve made it right to the bin.
That's an actual thing.
We got a lot more mileage out of this story than I thought we were going to. So you want to do the next one so we can talk to Matt?
We really did.
We should. Well, I mean, it's still on the same topic. So I'm grossed out by this actually, but you can now buy beer that is created with water that is recycled from showers, sinks, washing machines, and residential buildings. So yes, I get that like filtration systems are great and they exist, but like Jesus, this is the only potable water that we can filter like this. I mean, 70% of the planet is covered in water, and we use this instead. I
agree with you. This grosses me out to the point of absurdity. Like I am, first of all, regulations prohibit them from selling this beer. Thank God. Fuck libertarians. This is what, once again, we need regulation, because if we didn't have regulation, we'd be drinking beer made out of shit water. And it grosses me out. But then the story says, like, listen, all right, you're not going to drink it, but you can use it. It'll go in your toilet, in the sinks, and water for laundry. I don't want my laundry cleaned in former shit water. You know, I don't want like my dishes being cleaned in.
But here's a question for you. The marketing for it could be great. I see it now. It could say, tastes like piss, might be shit.
I have a better idea. They should just make like a premium version where you get to choose like whose celebrity shower or bath water you're consuming. So
well,
like
now you're talking, because that OnlyFans chick, that OnlyFans chick paid $10 million a month selling bath water. So maybe you're onto something there. I find this concept disgusting, and I know it's cognitive dissonance. Like, I know that we have worms living in our eyebrows, and strawberries are disgusting, and there's insect parts in chocolate, but I just don't want to think about it. You know,
we don't want to be reminded.
I don't want to be reminded. I want to be totally deaf to this.
I think it's a gimmick to appeal to those vegan ladies that don't shave that you mentioned earlier.
Oh, I'm sure it is. You're like, oh, I recycle everything. Shut up. Just stop it.
This
beer, shut up.
Take a shower.
Yeah.
Eric, is there a recycled beer from a celebrity that you drink?
Brad Pitt in 1994's Interview with the Vampire. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Fucking knew it.
I think. Oh man, that's a good question. I do think there's a significant drop. Like, I think if it's a hot chick, I'm willing to listen. But any dude, I want no part of your gross beer body run up. You know what I mean? It's just, oh God. Here's the other thing too. It's incentive to move out of an apartment, because they're talking about doing this in apartment buildings, right? Just recycling all the water constantly. Buy a house, you don't have to worry about that shit. So there's a little bit of a socioeconomic benefit to making a little more money. You know, Matt, does this concept gross you out?
Absolutely grosses me out. There's absolutely no way I'd have that.
No. Like, if you go to a restaurant, you find a piece of hair in your soup, you lose your fucking mind. Now you're talking about drinking X shit water. That's too much. It's a bridge too far.
A bridge too far.
It is a bridge too far. Plus, to Robin's point, like 80% of the planet's water, I know it has salt in it. How about we just instead of taking the shit out of this water, why don't we take the salt out of that water and then make beer?
Yeah, it's. I feel like we have bigger problems than this kind of shit.
Maybe this is how we combat the rising sea levels, right? We just
if we drink it, yes. Turn it into Miller Lite. There's
that's right.
Problem solved. Honestly, though, and again, I'm no water scientist, but there's so much water. Is removing salt that difficult? You know what I'm saying? It can't possibly be. If they can remove.
Well, you just got to boil it, right?
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I don't think so. With salt water? I don't think that removes the salt.
I think so.
The salt
boiling
just
it removes the water.
I don't
boiling,
know. Listen.
Boiling salt water removes the water.
I'm a word scientist, okay? I'm a PO scientist, not a.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's so. Oh God! And here's the other thing: scientists are obviously working on this problem. Can they work on something else? The rising sea levels, like it's 150 degrees in Arizona. Can we get that under control before we start making beer out of shit water, please?
Yeah, I feel like if I was just brainstorming, like a really big problem, I feel like we have, and I'm just thinking up something here. Climate change would be one that comes to mind.
Yeah. What about cooling down hot pockets? We have the crisping sleeve.
That is a problem.
More edible?
I'm gonna go on Shark Tank with a hot pocket cooler. But does it warm up your hot pocket? You're not getting the point. It's a built-in audience. Built-in audience, guys. Come on.
A hot pocket cooler.
Hot pockets. Now it's cold.
All right. We got 10 minutes before the Matt thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking cooler. Okay, go ahead.
Anyone seen the Barbie movie yet? Or am I still the only one?
No, I haven't seen it.
Wait, have you seen it?
I'm not against it. I just don't. Yeah, I haven't. No.
So I couldn't resonate it too much, but it was like a dream come true for my girlfriend. Apparently their box office is doing really well, and it's great for feminine empowerment. So, anyways, whoever was managing their social media just had really poor taste. and they thought it was a good idea because you're having the Oppenheimer versus Barbie thing in the box office. So this person on social media posted something where like Barbie had a mushroom cloud in her hair, so like her hair was styled as mushroom cloud.
Yeah, I couldn't find that one, but I found this one.
Yeah, so this one might have been the next one. But so like a lot of people are just angry because they're thinking it's a mockery of like the
Who's
people
angry?
that died.
The
You're never
bronies?
gonna believe this. The Japanese.
The bronies?
No, the bronies are fine with this. It's the Japanese. But so I did a little research. According to a 2014 study, it takes 36 days for a tragedy to become funny. So listen, bombs were dropped in 1945. I think it's been more than 36 days. I don't want to make light of the subject, but like,
Yeah, people need to let go. I mean, they're just pushing it too far with like reading into things too much.
yeah, listen, I mean, look, it's God, it is a sensitive subject, obviously. Well, what someone in the article said something really fucked up. He was like, a lot of kids were playing Barbies that day when the bombs got dropped, and they, okay, yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, obviously it's not funny, but I do think there's a little bit of everything's too sensitive. Like, come on, man, are you really gonna get?
Well, I think this is one of those things too, that the people that are most offended don't even fit the ethnic group of the of what should be offended. It's typically
Right.
Journalists and people who hang out on Twitter all day.
Exactly.
And there's
It's
always
virtue signaling.
those people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're being offended on somebody else's behalf.
Right, and the Japanese people now are paying absurd amounts of money to become human dogs and watch anime. So I mean,
They've got a lot of their hands full.
They're over it.
They've got their hands full. Eric, let me ask you
Yeah.
a question. What do you think is going to be? Sorry, which movie do you think will probably win an award this year, Barbie or Oppenheimer?
I want to say Barbie because I'm a big fan of that franchise. Something tells me it might be Oppenheimer. I don't know.
That's what I
I'm
said to
gonna
my mom.
disagree.
I said I'm just gonna throw it. I mean, who's gonna win that? Ryan Gosling for playing
He could-
Ken?
best
Anyone
actor.
else could have played Ken.
I will say though, anecdotally, because I like recommending documentaries on this, White Light, Black Rain is fucking a tremendous documentary on this subject. And it's really sad. Like, I guess people that show physical signs of whatever, people that were harmed, who survived the bombs, but whatever, they have physical deformities, are like ostracized. They're like pariahs. They're like lepers in Japan. So it's a real fucked up, complicated issue. But this movie everybody should run out and watch it. It's like 20 years old, but do it.
We should have a viewing party.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah. So whoever see, this is exactly what you just said. We should have a viewing party, but this is, so somebody who's like, they were playing with Barbies when they got bombed. Not if the shit came out in 1959, they weren't.
That's right.
Right.
We're being offended on somebody else's behalf. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what that's like. You ever know when like a celebrity dies, right? Like I was on Facebook the other day and somebody had died. I think it was Pee Wee Herman. And one of this idiot I went to high school with was like wrote this like tribute to Pee Wee, and I was just like, did you know Paul Rubens? He did not know, in fact, know Paul Rubens. But it's like, what there'll be like somebody dies and it's like this long tribute, like you don't even know this person.
Right. Pee Wee's Playhouse got me through some difficult times. Like I know.
All I want to know is
get out of here.
Who gets the bike?
Who gets the bike?
Yeah.
I know, right? Somebody's that was from Pee Wee's Big Top, right?
Big Adventure.
Pee Wee was a wild man. I'm a rebel, Dottie.
Yeah. I feel bad for Pee Wee because he got canceled like when it was almost impossible to get canceled. But you just can't masturbate in theaters. Like there was like, even in the 90s, there was like one
Did
rule.
he do the old popcorn? The old popcorn. Was it that what happened? It was the popcorn trick, or was he called?
Well, this is the fucked up
playing
thing. Like,
taps?
if you're whacking it in a regular theater, I go, okay, yeah, that's you can't do that. But he was whacking it in a porn theater. People forget, Robin, before you were born, we didn't have readily available pornography on our phones. We had to buy magazines.
Porn theaters were a thing.
Movies. What?
I didn't even know porn theaters were a thing. They were a thing.
Yes, you just can't masturbate.
Okay, what the?
I know.
Why is my generation weird? That's fucked up.
I got to be honest though, right? And I know you're not supposed to pleasure yourself in them, but I mean, I'm just asking, like, what do they think would go on in those places? Right?
Can you imagine going to a porn and it's an hour and a half long and you're in it for the plot? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna go in here and read the Bible while I can't get away. I got to get away from the kids. I mean, like, What's happening here?
I have no idea. What do they expect is going to happen?
Right.
Anyway, what was the news story? Oh, Barbie.
I don't know how we got here.
We're not sure.
I don't know how we connected the atomic bomb to Pee Wee Herman, but we managed to. So congratulations, everybody. We did it.
Okay, this one's actually an interesting topic as well. So there's a psychologist, and he's arguing that there's strength in sounding weak. So like he argues that, and I have to be careful about this because the wording in this article is might sound misogynistic, but I'm just reading it, so I'm not misogynistic. But so they say that when you use stereotypical female language, which includes hedging, disclaimers, and tag questions, it's in fact a compelling communication strategy. So like he argues that it's because they convey interpersonal sensitivity. So like kind of like that feeling of weakness when you're speaking to your mom, I guess, and you can use that to like manipulate or take over the conversation.
Yeah. What I took away from this is that weak men find feminine power intimidating. So then women know this and they speak to us in a way that is like they're undermining our fucking fragile egos, which good for them. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's 2023. You're gonna get his shit together, right? Isn't it? And
That's
also
right.
Adam Grant, the guy that wrote this article or the book or the whatever the fuck, he annoys the shit out of me. Do you know? Have you seen this guy? He's very annoying. Does everybody hate Adam Grant as much as I do? Go watch his TED Talks. He's insufferable.
Is he a feminist?
Adam Grant. Is Adam Grant the bald-headed guy?
Yeah.
From Farnham Street, right?
Yeah, he's annoying. I don't like him.
I'm not familiar with him, but I'm going to check him out today. You got me worked up.
This is what I think about these pop psychologists. I think they probably have 2 or 3 good ideas and they talk about it. Like Seth Godin's another one. We had kind of a couple good marketing ideas, but then they have to write 20 books. So by book 15, they're just the rambling incoherence of madmen. And I think that's what this is.
Kind of like the show.
The first couple episodes are great, and now it's but they reference this cartoon in the article, and I think it's true. This is another stupid gender bias that we all need to get over at some point. You know?
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Right.
I'm a feminist, man. I love women. My mother's a woman, as a matter of fact. I don't know if you guys have female mothers. They're the best kind, right?
They are. Yeah, I love my mom. I love my wife.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, though, is that men who come across as too agreeable also, according to this article, don't make much money. We like aggressiveness and assertiveness, but then we pretend like narcissists are the worst, and they do well in business.
So you're saying people like tough guys? I like it.
I think people like tough guys.
Is that why Tony Soprano was the leader of the Sopranos?
It could have been. Is
that why Donald Trump bolstered his way into the White House?
I think we have a thing for bold, assertive men. Robin, how do you feel about bold, assertive men?
Good. I have a test question for anyone actually. So there's this follow the story. There's a father and a son in a car, and they get in a car accident. The father dies, and the son is rushed to the hospital. When the son is at the hospital, the surgeon comes, and he's like, the surgeon says, "I can't operate on this person. He's my son." How is this possible?
I know. Anybody?
Yep, go for it.
Because the surgeon's his mother. You thought that I was going to say a woman can't possibly be here. But here in the United States, we have women that can do everything except be president.
Okay,
it seems to be an issue. But aside from
fair.
That,
Yeah,
nice,
a lot of people don't
try,
get that.
Robin. Well, listen, most people
I was trying to see if you were a true feminist.
Dude, I can't get it up.
I got to be honest. I thought it was his father, but then I remembered. Wait, was he riding with his mom? I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember who was riding with who.
Don't worry,
You
I
lost
nailed
me
it.
there. You did.
Okay, listen, we got a minute before we get into the mad portion. So you want to cover this next thing real quick? Oh, I think we have to because it ties into
man. This is the great segue. Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a hidden career cost of being overweight, and well, now there are a lot of moves to outlaw weight discrimination in the workplace. But now there are also studies saying that maybe we shouldn't because it does have a lot of correlation to bad performance in the workplace. So like here are some facts. Obesity is positively correlated with absenteeism and lack of motive to progress in the career. And they're also less involved with teams, and also they have a high tendency to not be able to keep long-term jobs. Yeah.
Well, this is another thing I talk about on this show a lot. Like I often say that the last thing you can discriminate openly against is short men. Short, fat men have it worse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can openly go, I'd never date a short guy, and go, too fat for me. But here's the other thing. I know what they're saying in this article, but it begs the question. So 42% of Americans are obese, which means who knows how many?
Only 42%.
What's 42 is obese. So overweight has to be like 80, right? I mean, look at the map of the United States. I had no idea North Dakota.
But here's what's confusing, right? Here's what's confusing. Now, this is like a Fox News story. I'm going to tell you why. You ready?
Yeah.
Look down there at Florida. That's like a haven.
It says insufficient data. They're so fat they can't do the math.
They ate the results.
They put the results in a crisping sleeve.
They see them sense. Right? Florida's insufficient data. Get out of here.
Hawaii too is famously fat. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've been to Hawaii, but that's a fat
there's
state.
Some large Hawaiians. Yes.
Yeah. But I guess my question is, if we're all fat, how are fat people being discriminated against? How do you discriminate against the majority? Is that even possible?
I got to be honest. Look at Arizona. Can you believe? I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not overweight, but I hate it when it's hot.
Well, right. I was going to say, can you imagine being 100 pounds overweight and it's 150 degrees outside?
Yikes.
Oh, my God.
I would just glance out the window and be like, not today. No way.
No, I think the question needs to be asked, though, is this really a problem, or is this a manufactured problem to have another type of victim card? But I'll follow that up by saying that, I've spent 25 years in leadership roles leadership and executive roles, running call centers. And so call centers, obviously very sedentary type of work and, very entry level. And I can just tell you firsthand, the absenteeism rate for overweight employees, much higher. The amount of time that you have to give them for doctor's appointments, much higher. Accommodating for FMLA. And I can also tell you that they turn over quicker. They typically aren't as motivated. They're not trying to get promotions. I mean, everything that was kind of mentioned there, I felt personally, I've seen that personally. The other thing that I'll add is my own self. When I was 100 pounds heavier, I got sick more often. When I was 100 pounds heavier, I was on all kinds of daily medications that were, by the way, driving up the insurance costs of my employer. Once I got all that in control and lived a healthier lifestyle, I was never missing work because I was sick. I can't even, aside getting COVID, I can't think of a time that I've been sick and needed to miss work in, several years. So I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I mean, they said in this thing, they said people that are overweight get promoted less and make less money. And they said, so one of the other interesting things was one of the women said with this like Zoom culture, working from home. I don't know if you remember MySpace magic was the term back then, but like you'd be on MySpace, you're like, oh, that chick's hot because it's a fucking headshot and you can't see the rest of it. So now people are saying like their coworkers don't know that they're overweight. And so it's sort of leveled the playing ground, which is, I'm neither here nor there on that, but that's very interesting because someday you're going to have to show up,
Right. Well, the other thing too is when you're overweight, you have less energy. If you have less energy, how can you perform as well as somebody that has high energy? It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, it's not sensible.
Yeah.
It also says in the article that people who are obese are ashamed to ask for help from other people because they're like afraid that they're going to be judged. That I'm not going to help you because you're overweight. It's bizarre.
Help them with what? Another helping? Or with work? What do you mean helping?
With anything,
you got to get the project done, man. Who cares? Got to get the work done.
Yeah.
That's never crossed my mind. Listen, I've worked with overweight people. I don't care what's happening. We gotta get the work done. Showtime.
Yeah. Listen, I'm tall and gorgeous, and so this story doesn't affect me. Okay, so this was a good segue into Matt. So Matt, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. I listened to your previous podcast appearance on another show, and you have a very interesting story to tell. So can you just give us the genesis of the show? You were 250. Here you are today, obviously not 250. So can you fill in those gaps?
Yeah. So, about 12 years ago, I decided that, I was done yo-yo dieting. I was done, and it wasn't necessarily appearance. At that point, I was already married. So what wasn't this concern, late 30s at that point. Right. And, but it was more thinking about longevity. And I had a daughter that was about to be born, and, how many years I was going to get to spend with her. So that was kind of the motivation to get started. So I just, when people ask me, how did you do it? How did you stay consistent? How have you maintained it? My simple answer is I wanted it bad enough, and I just made it happen. And that's what was different than the other times. So, I started eating better and exercising. Through exercising, I decided to try out the Couch to 5K running plan. No intentions of running a marathon. It was just, if I can run 3 miles, like 3-4 times a week, it'll help me lose weight. And if I keep doing that after I lose weight, that'll help me keep the weight off. And that was all my motivation in doing it. But, as I got to that point where I could run a 5K, run, 3 miles, it turned in, well, what if I could do 3.5 today? What if I can do 4? And what if I can do 6? Okay, now I'm at a 10K. Is a half marathon. That's only, I'm already halfway there. Is that out of the question? So within a year of starting this process, I ran my first half marathon. And then after I'd got a couple more of those under my belt, then, it was like I got in this continual goal crushing mode where it was, right, okay, I've done this. It's time to level up and do the next thing. And so worked my way up to running marathons. And then in 2018, beginning of 2018, I was involved in a car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver, or rear-ended by a drunk driver, and it left me with spinal stenosis, among a few other things, causing very low back pain. Also had some neck issues as well, and it was a long recovery. It took 32 months, but one day, I was really down in the dumps, because I can tell you, when you're dealing with constant pain that doesn't shut off from something like that, really the emotional toll is much greater than the physical toll. And that's where I was really at about 11, 12 months into the accident. And, I had this moment where a lot of things happened, but within the goal setting thing, I changed my approach to, if I get better from this, I'm not going to do just marathons. I'm going to just take it to the next level. I'm going to do ultra marathons. I'm going to do, all kinds of different endurance challenges. And so coming out of the accident or coming out of the recovery, once I got clearance to start running again, just kind of started back up and, adding the miles week over week. One day decided I'm going to just go out and run an ultra marathon today. So I just made up a route and ran a 50K unofficially, and then decided, you know what, I should actually sign up for one of these. And then after that point, we were off. So, prior to the accident, I'd ran 7 marathons over about a 4 or 5 year period. Since the accident, I've ran marathon or longer distance 50 times. And that's just in a little 3 years. So I've done 3 50-milers. I've done 100K, which is 62 miles. I've done a 24-hour race. And right now I'm actually getting ready to run my first 100-miler in October.
So when you had that accident and you were in recovery, was there temptation to fall back into your old eating habits? Was that the thing?
Did you think about a hot pocket?
Because you couldn't do anything that you liked anymore. You were basically out of it for was it a couple of months? No.
No, it was actually kind of the reverse. It was because I couldn't run. I think it made the situation much worse, because over that time, I figured out that running was my antidepressant. It was my stress relief. It was also a great place for me to just have some detached time that sparked creativity. I can tell you, the best ideas that I've implemented in business, whether that's in my business or in the corporate world, isn't something that I've came up with sitting in my office, staring at a screen or sitting in a boardroom. It's usually when I'm out running. And, when you get 2-3 hours into a run and you're tired, I think that's when the best ideas come up. So I've gotten really good at being able to make notes while I'm running on my phone. And I've even written whole blog articles while I'm running and put things on my calendars. I like doing a very long workout on Saturdays, and it kind of helps me have a moment to reflect on the week. What went good? What went bad? Who should I recognize? Who do I need to call? All those different types of things. So when running was removed, I had so many things beyond just the physical aspect that were removed from me. So I was literally doing everything possible. I second and third opinions with chiropractors, physical therapists. I went through 3 different mattresses. Every as seen on TV gimmick that you can find for low back pain, I've tried all of them. I bought a hot tub. Just literally everything that I could do to give me an edge. I was really motivated to get out of it.
Mm-hmm. So you lost. I thought the accident was the thing that spurred you to run. So you lost 100 pounds running and then you get into an accident. That's somehow worse. Right? Like you handle your situation and then you had to step back. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. And it was, I tell people all the time, if I wouldn't have got in shape before I got in the accident and built up that work ethic, built up that discipline, that discipline that you get from running marathons, it translates to other parts of your life. I felt, I was a better, through years of running, I saw areas that I could be a better husband, be a better father, be a better leader at my job, all those different types of things. But for me to recover from the car accident, it wasn't going to be the doctors. It wasn't going to be a magic pill. It wasn't going to be a surgery. I had to do lots of rehab, hours a day of rehab. And, most people aren't going to do that. Most people are going to look for the pill or the surgery or just sit around on the couch and complain about it. And I think that if that accident would have happened 7-8 years before, I'd probably be sitting on the couch eating a Hot Pocket right now.
Right. Hot Pockets. Yeah, that's right.
So this is interesting. Obviously, humans are built different, but I run on occasion, and the only thing I can think of is fuck this hurts, fuck this hurts, fuck this hurts. Like I never get to the point where I'm able to write a blog in my head or have thoughts that aren't. I just want.
Yeah, my thoughts are usually like, is that ambulance? Is that it? So who called them? Did they call them for me?
Yeah. My brain never shuts off separate from the running itself, but you can just run and think. Because I was going to ask, a 24-hour race, what do you think about? But I guess you're able to just think.
Yeah. Well, when you get in those super, super long races, your mind can go kind of wild and you just think about crazy things. Like, I remember one night I was doing a training run, a 12-hour training run. It was a dusk till dawn type of thing. And so I get to about 2-3 o'clock in the morning and I'm just having this long thought in my head. Why isn't there an ultra marathoner on the Avengers? I was going
to run away from the bad guys.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Hawkeye really doesn't do anything.
Good.
There's got to be a purpose for somebody who can just run nonstop, right? Or one night I came up with a new ending for the series finale of The Walking Dead. Wow. And it involved 5 different ultra marathoners that ran the herds off of the Grand Canyon and just exterminated them all in one spot.
Yeah. No,
I have a question for you. So if you do like a 12-hour race, right, or say like a 24-hour race, like that's probably crazy, but like, what are you eating or fueling with?
A little bit of everything. A lot of it later in the race, it comes down to what can I crave and I think that I can hold down at the same time. Right. So, typically early in the race, it's going to be a little bit more carb oriented. And as I get later in the race, I'm going to be craving more salty, more proteins. I'm going to get some calories by using energy gels as well. And just different nutrition sports mixes. The complex thing about when you get into ultras as opposed to a traditional marathon is not only do you need the fuel to get you through the race, but you're also covering multiple meal times as well. And so being able to fit that in, and Sometimes, what your body responds to well on one race, the next race you do the same thing, and you're sick to your stomach, and you just gotta fight through that for a couple of hours, and hopefully come out on the other end of it feeling better.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get off the couch to a 5K? Do you remember?
I was gonna ask that as well. Like, what do you still even remember the feeling of when you were 250 and you did your first run? Yeah. Was it vastly different?
Yeah, it was definitely much slower. It was definitely much sore, kind of the way you're describing your running scenarios was, I completely relate to that. I'd been working out for about 2 months on the elliptical before I started running. I think it took me about 7 weeks from the time that I started running 3-4 times a week to get to that 5K, which at that point in my life, I'd only, I ran, a mile several times. I think I ran 3 miles on one occasion way back in high school, but definitely not anything in my adult life.
Yeah.
And that was the main thing that got you to drop the 100 pounds, was just running 3-4 times a week, or?
Yeah, which actually turned quickly into about 5 times a week, maybe 6 a week. But
you really like running.
Yeah, I think you ran and discovered your calling.
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
I did. I started. After I got where I was running 10Ks pretty comfortably and getting that pace up. I started signing up for local 5Ks and 10Ks, and that just kept the motivation going. Saying, all right, I just ran a 10K at 53 minutes. There's another 10K 3 months down the road. I'm going to sign up for that, and I'm going to try to do 49 minutes. And it was just that's the one cool thing about running is especially with technology that we have today, is there's so many ways that you can break down the data and different goal setting, whether it's total mileage per week or distance of a long run or just overall pace. So many ways to do it, and I just always got myself in the habit of, all right, just conquered this one. What are we going to do next? What are we going to train for? And just be in a constant state of training for something down the road.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, and we talked about this yesterday with our guest, because fitness trends come and go. Like, it was like sweating to the oldies, and then curves for women, and then fucking CrossFit. These days, it's like cardio doesn't work. It's all about weight training. And if any one of these LinkedIn bros were like, fuck cardio, it's the worst thing in the world. Whereas 5 years ago, people were like, no, cardio is good. You lost 100 pounds running. Like, running works, right? It does. No matter what the current trend is, running is a thing that humans have done since our, inception.
I have a question, and maybe I don't know the answer to this, or maybe you guys do. If I'm correct, I think running burns the most calories, or is it swimming?
Swimming.
Mm-hmm. So running's what, second?
I think second.
Yeah.
I think you go, yeah. So, it works, right? If you run into that today where people there seems to be an anti-cardio thing going on in the zeitgeist. Have you experienced that?
I see it. I do see it a little bit. And I think there's value to both. I think that if you exclusively run and you don't do anything else, you're probably going to, first of all, you're not going to be as strong as a runner as you could be. And doing things like ultra marathons are probably going to be very, very difficult. But I think too, that you tend to get running injuries. So prior to my accident, I'd probably have 1 or 2 running injuries a year. Nothing that was really big, but something that would, take me off the shelf for, a couple of weeks or maybe a month. The plantar fasciitis, comes to mind as something that I fought with a couple of times. I tore my calf one time, and it knocked me out for about 3-4 weeks. I started really focusing on cross training about a year before my accident, but then, coming out of the accident through my rehab, all I was doing was cross training and slowly working my way back up. And I haven't had one running injury since then. And I also think that if you do strength training or some sort of other conditioning, you're also going to have much better running posture. And if you have better running posture, your run, first of all, is going to be more effective. But posture is one of the things that leads to those running injuries.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So your business now, you want to talk about that a little bit? Cryo. Yeah. And DDP Yoga, right? Hey, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Have you met Diamond Dallas Page yet?
Yeah, I have met him. Yeah.
Me and him, I went to professional wrestling school.
Wait, Diamond Dallas Page does yoga?
Yo,
he has his own yoga.
I think Diamond Dallas Page invented yoga. You didn't know this?
Oh.
I mean, I know who he is. I didn't know he was doing yoga. I mean, this is great.
Oh, listen, you're never gonna believe this. There's a documentary that's fantastic on DDP yoga. But listen, I'm not an expert. Matt, tell us about cryo and DDP and
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll hit on those separately. So cryotherapy and DDP yoga used in combination are the key things that I use to recover from my injury. I would tell you I would not be where I'm at today without both of them involved. So cryotherapy is it's a chamber that you get in that is cooled to sub-zero temperatures. So if you visit iCRYO in Wichita, our chamber is negative 170 degrees.
That seems excessive.
Yeah, it's not.
So it's cold.
It's a dry cool. So, but as bad as that sounds, because it's so cold, your body really doesn't feel that much colder than being outside in the middle of winter when it's 20 degrees, the wind's whipping around, and you have 3 layers of clothes on, and you're outside, pumping gas. I really don't feel like it's that much colder. But when you get in the cryotherapy chamber, because it is so cold, your body immediately responds by going into fight or flight mode. And this prompts the blood from your extremities to rush to your core to protect your organs. And in that process, it reoxygenates the blood. So when you step out of the cryotherapy chamber, that blood's going to flow back throughout your body, but that oxygen is going to stick around at places that have pain and inflammation. So it can be pain and inflammation from an old injury, a new injury. It can be something, more chronic like arthritis, or it can just be, I decided to get off the couch today and do my first workout, and oh my gosh, I'm sore. I just have sore muscles.
So let me ask you this. All right, so you get in this machine. It's a machine. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like the best way to describe it is just getting in a meat locker. It's okay. It's cooled by oxygen.
And your head's in it or no?
The older versions of cryotherapy, if you see pictures of that, your head sticks out the top. Yeah. Those were cooled by nitrogen, so you couldn't breathe that air. But the newer technology, like what we have at iCRYO, it's fully the air is fully breathable. It's cooled by oxygen, cooled by electricity. It's fully enclosed. So what's great about that is it gets your whole body equally. If you have neck pain, shoulder pain, it's also great with headaches, migraines.
Wow!
And how long do it as often as you like?
Yeah.
You can do it every day. A session is 3 to 3.5 minutes. The ladies usually need around 3. Gentlemen need usually 3.5.
I mean, is it tolerable, or are you like, oh my God, this is incredible? Or what is the experience? It's obviously for you, it's pleasurable now, but
yeah.
I'll tell you what, when you step out of the chamber, there's a certain feeling that you have that if they could package that feeling into a pill, everybody would be addicted to it. So the first time you get in the cryotherapy chamber, it's you have that intimidation factor. You haven't been in there. You don't know what it's going to be like. And I'll tell you, 7 out of 10 people I put in there, when they get out of there, they're like, that was a lot easier than I thought. It's kind of getting past that mental hurdle. I mean, yeah, it is cold, but you see a countdown of time that you have left. You know that you're going to be out of there. We pump music in there to create a little extra energy, and there's different color bright lights to kind of distract you. And it goes by pretty quick.
I used to float in sensory deprivation chambers, and it was that same thing I used to say. If you could pill the feeling once you get out of that, I mean, maybe we could combine the 2 pills and we'd really have something.
I'm a big fan of sensory deprivation takes. There's a place a mile from my house that I go to about once a quarter. Nice. And from the standpoint of relaxation, I don't know that I've ever done anything in my life that is as relaxing as a deprivation tank.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Thank you for agreeing with me, since you've done all this other wacky shit. Most people think I'm nuts. I think I think we're almost at the same level. So you also have something you said in the other podcast that you can cure hangovers.
Oh yeah, so we have an IV bar. So we have
an IV bar. That sounds amazing.
So we incredible. We have RNs on staff that are doing the IV, so it's not going to be a crazy weirdo runner like me sticking you. It'll be a licensed professional. Nice. And so we have different nutraceutical blends for different purposes. We have 18 different IVs that we offer. So a hangover IV is one of those, very popular on Saturday mornings. It's always kind of entertaining.
You can imagine.
Walk in with their sunglasses on, and they look like they're about to die, and then an hour and 15 minutes later, they're walking out just fine. But we also have IVs for energy. We have a couple that are for athletes for pre-competition, post-competition. We have one for mental clarity. We have one that's just really good for immunity. Very popular, with seniors, especially during flu and cold season. Great alternative to taking the flu vaccine. And a lot of people come in and take it, just right before they're getting ready to take a vacation. They want a strong immune system before they go get on a cruise ship or sit on an airplane or whatever.
I can't imagine how much better my life would be if I knew that the next morning I could just cure the hangover. Do you know how much I could drink? Oh my God, it'd be fantastic. How long does it take and how much does it cost to cure my hangover?
So an IV is $159 to $229, depending on which one you get. We can also.
I'm going to earn that hangover then. I'm going to drink.
Hey, you know what? I'm sure I know myself included. Back in the day when I was a heavy drinker, I had those mornings that I would have paid somebody, $200 just to make it go away.
Just make it go away, baby. That's all I want. Yeah. And then you get your Sunday back. That's unbelievable. No hangover.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then so the yoga portion too. So do you teach DDP yoga now?
Yeah, I teach a little bit. I don't want to own a yoga business. I got too many irons in the fire. So I just teach at a gym. But DDP yoga was, it's a different type of yoga. It's great for injury recovery for starters. It's great for people who don't work out at all, that are just trying to get off the couch that first time. I wish I would have had accessible to me when I first got into fitness. It was kind of down the road that I discovered it through a viral video of an injured veteran who started out at 300 pounds, walking around with canes, no mobility, had given up on life, basically, starts doing DDP yoga, documented the whole thing throughout the whole journey. The video ends with him just sprinting down the road. Yeah. So, I started doing that. And it was, the combination of that with the cryotherapy was, taking out the pain and inflammation that was allowing me to do the yoga. And doing the yoga was, increasing my flexibility, range of motion. It was tightening up my core. I really felt like, hey, I've got a permanent injury to my back. It's always going to be there. My best option is to make everything else around it stronger. Let's make the glutes stronger, the quads stronger, the abs stronger.
That's smart.
And so fortunately, this workout hits all of those areas. Just increases overall core strength. I was already, using that pretty heavily throughout my recovery. And as the pandemic was going on and still working from home and no commute and all this extra time, I'm like, I don't want to spend all this extra time that's been gifted to me through this unfortunate pandemic just to binge watch TV. How can I replace this with productivity? And I decided, hey, you know what? Let's just go all out and be, get certified to become a DDP yoga instructor. So I worked on that a lot through the pandemic. And as the pandemic came to the end, met all the requirements to, start teaching it live. I don't, a lot of people that are, yoga instructors, they do it as a side hustle for a business. But for me, it's never been anything like that. I have the business model set up where it's a break even, but it's a break even where I can give it free of charge to veterans, active duty, and first responders. Because I don't know about you guys, but almost every one of those guys that I've ever met, they have some sort of injury. They've got back pain, they've got hip pain, knee pain, whatever. Yeah. And what do they typically do? Pain pills and alcohol. And, I think that this is a better way for them. So I try to get as many of those guys in my class just to get them moving and feeling better.
Beautiful. So we only have 2 minutes left, but speaking to the 42% of Americans that are obese, and since you've,
and probably higher,
what is your advice if they're going to start the journey? Would it be DDP yoga? Would it be go fucking try to get off the couch and run a 5K? Like what's
10 miles? Step?
Well, I'll say that I think it's 75% food, 25% activity.
Oh,
so I'll hit the activity piece first. Find something that you like, that you're going to be consistent of, that you can grow and continue to get better no matter what it is. Maybe it's not running. Maybe it's not yoga. Maybe it's swimming. Maybe it's biking. Whatever it is, just find something that you like, because if you like it, then it's less tedious. There's still days that I don't want to run, but most days I do. So, and I was fortunate to find that. So, but with the food, unfortunately, there's a whole industry around dieting. They've confused the public. I would say go back to what I said earlier in this conversation. Just eat real food. Eat something that comes straight from an animal, straight from a plant, and you're going to feel better. And I have the 4 things that I tell people to avoid at all costs. Avoid processed foods, avoid sugar, avoid gluten, and at least reduce dairy. I know that's kind of hard. For me, I need butter and sometimes I need cheese. But I've replaced, for instance, milk with almond milk, and I don't use a lot of dairy.
I like one thing you said earlier. You said you don't eat anything before how did you say about since World War II?
Oh yeah, man.
Right? No, I'm serious. I thought that was clever. I like it.
Yeah. I said, think of what was in the grocery store before World War II.
Like that's just straight to it, right? I mean, like that's if you can't remember anything else, like that's I can remember that.
When did Doritos come out? Please tell me it was before World War II.
I hope so. Yeah, right. Otherwise, we'd loading up on them.
All right, guys, that's our hour. Matt, thank you very much. You were great and fascinating. You're inspirational. You're giving me hope that I can lose 100 pounds. Although I'd be pretty light. I could lose a Robin. Robin weighs 100 pounds. You know that?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the invitation.
No problem. All right, tomorrow, America.